All right, I think we're dialed in. Good morning, friends. Welcome to PT on Ice, the daily show. It's Fitness Athlete Friday, Friday edition. I'm your host, Mitch Babcock, so it's good to be back, grabbing the mic this Friday and talking all things fitness athlete. Thanks once again for checking us out live. If you're on Facebook, you're up here. If you're on Instagram, you're down here. And if you're checking the podcast, thanks for making us one of your selected downloads for your drive in or your drive home from work and just getting those thought gears turning a little bit. What we want to talk about, if you're tuning in on Fitness Athlete Friday, you know we talk all things CrossFit related athlete and working with that athlete. If they're coming in your clinic, maybe you're working in gyms or boxes specifically for them. Good morning to all you that are jumping on right now. So what we want to mention today is something that's coming down the road. I want you to get thinking about it, right? The Open is coming. The CrossFit Open is 4 weeks away. So first this morning, some of you are thinking, I have no idea what that is. I'm going to quickly describe that and recap that. Why CrossFit athletes do that? What do the numbers look like behind that? And then also what that looks like over the course of the 5 weeks that the Open is going on for, and how can you best serve CrossFit athletes right now, and then also, of course, along the course of those 5 weeks, right? What can you do? What can you market to them? What services can you provide that are really going to be of a big assistance to them throughout the entirety of the Open, leading up into the Open, right? So let's start with that first piece. Let's tackle what the heck is the Open. Let's give a little background, right? The CrossFit Games kicks off with this open season. Anyone around the world can sign up. You pay $20. You pay to play for a chance to go to the CrossFit Games, right? Everyone's super excited. They're like, this is the year that I beat Matt Fraser, right? So $20. You have a judge for all your workouts. There are 5 workouts over the course of 5 weeks. They're released on a Thursday night. And then you have until Monday at 5 p.m. to submit your score with a judge verifying your score, saying, yes, you did this workout, you did all the repetitions, you did the standards as they are described. And you're going to submit that score online by Monday at 5 o'clock, which means you have multiple chances to do it. You could do it Thursday night, you could do it Friday, you could do it again Saturday and retest it again Monday if you're really that crazy to do that. But you can do it as many times in that window as you want. Get the best possible score that you can achieve and post that score online. Rinse and repeat for 5 straight weeks. At the end of those 5 weeks, how it used to go is that the top individuals in each region would go on to regionals, right? So they would take a number of folks that did super well, and they would take them to regionals, which were like the semifinals. From regionals, which is in May, I think it's in May. They would take the best that would then go to the games, which is like the Super Bowl. So you can kind of see like playoffs, Open, and then regionals, and then the CrossFit Games. This year, a little different. They're doing away with regionals. So there are no regionals, but the Open is still just as it was before. 5 workouts over the course of 5 weeks. Anyone from around the world can participate. That's what makes it really nice. And this year, the changes that they've made is that the top male and the top female from any country that has a listed affiliate gets an automatic invitation to the CrossFit Games. So globally, this is going to blow up the Open's participation. Much bigger numbers because people in all these countries that didn't think they had a shot before, they're launching new CrossFit affiliates. They're going to have a chance. The fittest in their country gets to go to the games in August. So globally, we may expect a slight peak in numbers and registration. Nationally, however, there was a lot of regional competitions that were held in the U.S. After the Open, right? You had your Midwest regional, you had your Southeast, you had your California regional, your Pacific regional, etc. So there was a lot of regionals that were held in the nation, in the country, that aren't going to be held anymore. So I have no idea what's going to happen there. That was a lot of people's chance to, if I could just make it to regionals, that would be the pinnacle for me, is trying to get there. Regardless, let's look at the numbers. In 2017, it was estimated 350,000 people were registered for the Open. 350,000 that signed up, that paid the $20 and did the 5 workouts. In 2018, just 1 year later, those numbers almost doubled. They were up in the 600,000s for the number of people that signed up for the Open, right? So already we're seeing this big, large trajectory. And what that means is that any local affiliate, like mine, like the one that we're at right now, CrossFit Fenton, we're going to have anywhere from, 50 to 60 athletes that are signing up, that are going to pay the $20 and they're going to register and do the Open. Do any of us have a shot of going anywhere with this? Absolutely not. We have a blast doing it. We have a lot of fun judging and submitting our scores and competing with friends that we may have in Florida or friends that we have down in Texas or across, on the West Coast. What'd you do on that workout? How'd you do? And you get to stack up on the exact same workouts wherever you are across the country, across the world. It's really, really fun. Okay, so any local affiliate, you're going to see a handful of folks that are going to register for this open coming up in 4 weeks' time. What does this mean to you as a practitioner? This is like a CrossFitter's season, right? If you're really into this as your sport, this is the time of the year that it all comes to fruition and that you get to showcase all your hard work that you've been doing. You mastered a new skill. Maybe now you got ring muscle ups. Maybe your snatch and your clean and jerk got stronger, and you're really hoping that those show up so that you can showcase all the hard work you've been doing, right? So you're going to put all your eggs in these next 5 weeks, and you're going to drain the tank. You're going to go as hard as you possibly can on 5 workouts over the course of 5 weeks. As a practitioner, what you need to understand is what's happening on the front end, what's happening over the course of the next 4 weeks right now from a gym programming standpoint to help get athletes dialed in and ready. And then what does training look like during those 5 weeks? What should it look like during those 5 weeks? And how can you help athletes recover and get ready for their next workout the following week? So we're 4 weeks out from this CrossFit Games season. If I'm programming and we're looking at really solid programming for the next 4 weeks to try to peak you and get you ready for this tournament, this season, which is the CrossFit Open, we're going to start dialing in more doses of intensity. We're going to start dialing in more former open workouts. You're going to see things like 16.2 or 17.1. You're going to see things like this start to show up again to start to prime athletes for those specific time domains and workouts that have shown up before in the open. This is what they feel like. This is what they look like. We're going to get all the hype. We're going to make it feel as much like, that competitive stage as possible to get athletes prepared and ready for what that's going to be like in the next 5 weeks. We're not going to do it every day, but you may see 1 to 2 workouts like that in a given calendar week of programming to get athletes primed and ready. In the next 4 weeks, you're not going to get your back squat all that much stronger. In the next 4 weeks, you can refine a little bit of technique, but you're really not going to set a whole lot of new PRs. You may or may not, depending on how your training's programmed. It's really that stuff's behind you. You've built the strength. Now we're putting it into terms of workouts where you can move lighter barbells, where you can perform gymnastics movements. Gymnastic component. That's one area where we may still see some refinement going on, right? So athletes leading up into the open is like, okay, let's start thinking about bar muscle up capacity. Let's start thinking about ring muscle up capacity. What about handstand push-ups? Let's start refining those skills that maybe you have the ability to do them, and we're just trying to polish them up, right? Let's get you a little tighter. Can you do sets of 5 when you're under fatigue? Things of that nature is what we can really start to dial in over the next 4 to 5 weeks. So if you're a clinician and coach, and take, for example, you're in the Advanced Concepts online cohort that just kicked off this week, shout out to you guys. And we're going to be going through advanced gymnastics in your ability to assess and break those out. So you'll understand positions of the arch and the hollow and how to keep tension and maintain tension in your ring muscle up, how to make your handstand push-ups more efficient. And those are tips that as a clinician coach that you'll be able to give athletes of like, hey, if you point your toes straight to the ceiling in your handstand walking, you're going to become more rigid. Your legs are going to be tighter. You're going to be able to squeeze your feet together, and you'll have a more efficient handstand walking technique if handstand walks show up like they did last year. If you stay equally as rigid, if you point your toes and squeeze your legs together on your ring muscle up, your legs might stay straighter instead of bending at the knee. And when we see athletes bending at the knee, we're seeing, hey, that's a loss of tension, and maybe you're making up for a lack of mobility potentially in the hips, potentially in the thoracic spine, and we want to work on that, right? So there's a couple areas there where my assessment abilities as a coach and clinician can help an athlete become a little tighter, become a little bit more refined, and ideally help them perform better when the open comes around, right? Those are still things you're able to do over the course of the next 4 weeks to make sure athletes are primed and ready to go. The other thing that's really worth considering is things like this, and you've heard Alan rap about it a lot. You've heard Zach talk about it. The Whoop has been a real game changer for me and for a lot of the folks that I train with, looking at our recoverability, looking at our sleep performance, looking at our daily strain, and letting us know what kind of day I can potentially have ahead of me and what kind of day I need to like slow it down and reserve for another day, right? If I got red lights here, if I didn't sleep super well, and my HRV is down, I need to make sure that, hey, like tomorrow is not a day that I dial it up and do 2 Metcons or, really try to set a PR or something like that. Like I need to have a good training day. I need to breathe hard a little bit, I need to do some aerobic work and then get some sleep tonight and come back into the gym tomorrow for a harder day. Finding ways to help athletes understand manage their fatigue and manage their recoverability so that they can keep training is really important. Leading into competition season like this, it's easy for athletes to start to overtrain because they're starting to feel the pressure of I'm not ready or I need to be more ready than what I currently am. So just make sure if you don't have any way to track, you don't have trackables of that nature, that you're having discussions with the athletes you're working with of like, are you feeling beat down? Are you sleeping good? Are you waking up really sore in the morning? Do you feel like you're not ready to perform? Is your readiness to train like in the bottoms of the barrels, right? So those are just some subjective questions that you should be asking your athletes of how do you feel? We need to make sure that you're not hitting the gas just yet. We need to peak you for performance in 4 more weeks, but we don't need to make sure that you're beat up and then run the risk of an injury leading into the open. That's not going to do anyone any favors, okay? And the last piece that I want to close out with is what to do during those 5 weeks of competition. What to do while athletes are in it, right? So remember, the workout is announced Thursday night, and you have until Monday to submit your score. Rinses and repeats the next Thursday, and so on and so forth for 5 weeks. If you're really concerned about getting the best possible score you can, a lot of athletes do these workouts twice. They'll do them potentially like Friday, right? They're not going to do them Thursday night. They'll wait Friday, and they'll come in the gym, and they'll do the workout Friday. And then as the weekend goes, they got Saturday, Sunday to kind of rest and recover. And if they think they can do a little bit better, if maybe they didn't like their strategy or they rested at certain points longer than they should have or whatever, then maybe they'll repeat that workout again on Monday. 2 workouts in the course of 4 days that are max intensity, right? So what I would recommend is if your athletes are doing this, if your athletes are like, I'm going to do the workouts twice because I'm going to try to get the best possible score that I can, then make the recommendation that they go really light the remaining days of the week. That Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are relatively light days. They come in, they're doing some aerobic work, they're doing a lot of soft tissue recovery work. Maybe they're moving some light barbells and doing some Metcons, but they're really not trying to push intensity because you can't come in the gym and compete 5 or 6 days a week straight and just keep hammering it and be at your absolute best all of those days. You've got to pick and choose a little bit. And if you're really going to drain the tank on those 2 open workouts that you're doing in the weekend, then just focus on those and be really just smart about your training for the remainder of the week. Some long, slow aerobic work. Let's get you breathing. Let's get you moving. Maybe we'll do some body weight stuff and make sure that you're feeling really sharp for when the next workout is announced the next week. As a clinician, when the open workouts get announced, if you have any familiarity at all with these workouts, with these movements, with how a dumbbell snatch feels on the low back, with how snatching feels on the shoulder, cycling a heavy bar feels on the shoulder, you need to digest and break down these workouts on the front end, right when they're announced and right when you see your first few people kind of attack them and go after them, and then come out with some sort of soft tissue management program. Hey guys, your low backs are likely to be pretty lit after that workout, right? You just did a ton of deadlifts and maybe a lot of rowing or something. Here's a few things that can help you feel a lot better tomorrow so that you're not dealing with stiffness longer than you need to. Or maybe, you were up on the pull-up bar a lot and your hands, maybe you got to take care of your hands. You've given them some tips about that, or you've given them some tips about shoulder work, and they're getting in on the crossover symmetry and making sure that their shoulders feel really good leading out of that week. Those are things that as a clinician, you need to be thinking about, the higher level stuff. Where are athletes potentially going to feel sore, stiff, and what can I give them to kind of help stay ahead of this stuff, stay preventative, and stay feeling really good leading through the open, right? Okay, just to recap, guys, the open is 4 weeks away. If you've got CrossFit athletes that are serious about this, they're going to be doing their absolute best once, possibly twice a week on these workouts. Leading up to that, make sure that they're recovering really well. They're going to be peaking for performance. They're going to be hitting a few workouts at intensity, but just make sure that they're not trying to do too much too soon in too small of a window to try to get themselves more ready than what they could be. During the open, make sure that you have a strategy throughout that week of like soft tissue, managing their stress, managing their fatigue, managing their recoverability, and making sure that they're primed and ready to go if they're going to attack the workout on Friday, and if they're going to redo the workout, Sunday or Monday for that matter, right? Help your athletes stay loose, stay mobile. You can help them dial in their gymnastics technique. You can help them dial in maybe some barbell cycling efficiency, but don't expect your athletes to really set new PRs on their back squat or deadlift in these next couple of weeks. Let's get them ready for performance, keep them healthy, and get them out there and have their most successful open workouts of their career so far, so that they can be proud of the fitness progress that they've made over their time in CrossFit. It's a really fun time in CrossFit gyms. If you haven't been around the environment, if you haven't been in a gym to watch CrossFit open workouts go down in real time, I encourage you to do it. If you're near CrossFit Fenton, I'm selfishly plugging my own gym right now, and I don't care. But if you're near CrossFit Fenton in Fenton, Michigan, come by our gym. We're going to do Friday nights under the lights, which is kind of like a Friday night football game, if you will. We're going to run heats, and people are going to be going, and we're going to have it taped off like we did last year. And you can come and just watch and bring the kids. And it's a good fun time. We'd love to see you in here. So with that being said, Alan just showed up at the office. He got done climbing half of Mount Everest this morning, I'm pretty sure, on his staircase. Who knows how many thousands of feet he climbed. 8,000 feet he knocked out this morning before 8:47 a.m. So that makes you feel good. Otherwise, guys, the only thing I got to say is St. Patrick's Day weekend, we're going to be doing Fitness Athlete Live right here in Michigan. So if you've been wondering where you can catch a live course coming up this spring, or early, I'm jumping the gun on spring there a little bit. It's -5 outside. But if you've been looking for a live course you can jump into, grab a seat at our Fitness Athlete Live course in Michigan, in Fenton, March 17th and 18th. That's with myself, with Alan, and with Dr. Zach Long. We're going to have a great time up in here. So catch us over there. Otherwise, guys, have a great weekend. Go in the clinic, go make some change, go make some difference. Be helping your CrossFit athletes prep for the Open that's coming up. And we'll see you guys on the internet and in real life real soon. Take care.